In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of America. Tonight, our special guest is Mr. Alfred Gbla. Alfred Gbla is a dynamic and forward-thinking professional whose career bridges the worlds of accounting, auditing, and strategic business development. With a reputation for precision, integrity, and innovation, Alfred has cultivated a multifaceted skill set that positions him as a rising leader in financial management and compliance. Currently pursuing his Master of Business Administration with a concentration in accounting at Clayton State University, Alfred is on track to graduate in May of 25 with a perfect 4.0 GPA and academic achievement that reflects his dedication and intellectual rigor. His graduate studies build upon a solid foundation of hands-on experience in auditing and financial analysis, equipping him with the tools to navigate complex regulatory environments and deliver actionable insights for organizations. Alfred's professional journey is marked by a commitment to excellence and a passion for empowering businesses, both in the private and public sectors, to achieve substantial growth. He specializes in leveraging financial data to enhance operational efficiency, ensure compliance, and create long-term value for clients. His entrepreneurial mindset and strategic vision allows him to approach challenges with creativity and clarity, making him a trusted advisor and collaborator. Beyond the numbers, Alfred is deeply engaged in conversations about the economic equity, financial literacy, and the role of transparent governance in shaping resilient communities. His appearance on America in Black and White promises to offer viewers a thoughtful perspective on the intersections of finance, leadership, and social impact. Whether he's analyzing balance sheets or mentoring future professionals, Alfred Gbla exemplifies the power of financial expertise when paired with purpose-driven ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alfred Gbla. Hello, sir.
Hello, Charles. How you doing?
I'm doing just excellent. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Can't wait to start.
Is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we get into the show?
Well, pretty much you already said everything. I don't really have. Well, I would just add maybe one thing, which is, I love to share knowledge, love to help people that love to learn. And even when I was in school at Clayton State University, I was an SI, supplemental instructor, which I was, helping other student that was having difficulties with one accounting class. So yeah, that's the only thing I want to add.
Okay. Well, so let's get into your career in finance, that is with auditing and accounting. Tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in finance and accounting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a long story because I remember when I was back in Sierra Leone, I have this uncle that we all live in the same neighborhood. And, he always, like, I was very, very small. I was like, 7, 8 years old. And he always liked to put on suit to go to work because, like, in Africa, most accountants, they always dress like official and stuff like that. And one time I was talking to my mom, and I was said, "Hey, mommy, I want to be like this uncle." And he said, "Oh, he's an accountant." I was like, "Yeah," because I love the culture, the way they dress, and all of that. So from since then, I just keep believing, try to achieve that dream. So yeah.
Oh wow. So I guess then he made more than an impression, on you, not just as a child, but what your adulthood has come to be. So when doing accounting and auditing and finance itself in general, can you tell us, like, what is it that makes that one of the things that intrigue you so much that you wanted to make it a career?
Yeah, so back home when I started doing this, because you're gonna start doing accounting stuff from high school. So when I started doing accounting stuff from high school, I really love mostly the practical stuff because I'm someone that don't really like to read books or something like that when I was back home though. So I'm more kind of like a practical guy, like I want to see if I'm doing something, I want to see the end product. And doing accounting actually give me something like that. So like when I was doing like the financial statements, when I was doing bookkeeping and all this stuff back home, like you always have to finish everything for you to know like if you're actually doing the right thing. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but yeah. So that's one of the things I love. And anytime I do something practical, it's kind of sticking me, So but reading, I have to like keep on reading for me to like actually understand what's going on. But doing practical stuff really sticking me. So doing that consistently, like that really make me feel like this is for me and this is what I want to do because of I started getting better, and anytime I get better on it, I was able to explain and teach other people, for them to understand, or people that sees it like a little bit difficult, and try to teach them my own understanding. And since then I just keep love doing it, and now I have my MBA in accounting, which is really cool.
Okay. So, can you walk us through your journey from entry level to leadership in the finance sector?
Yeah, so this happened when I was at Molden and Jenkins, right? So I started as an intern. When you go out there, first of all, I never thought I'm going to be an auditor, to be honest. I was thinking that, okay, the only way you can work in the public accounting firm is for you to be a tax preparer. So when I started working at Molden and Jenkins as an intern, they have like a 360 program, which is they're going to make you try to do all their services, which is taxes, auditing, and advisory. So when I started working there, I was like, okay, let me start tax. I started taxes, and it was not really easy, to be honest, but I kept going, and did like a busy season with them, which was I was filing taxes like 1040s, 1099, and all of those other stuff. And I really want the experience because I want to start doing my own taxes, and I want to know most of the tax code. But as soon as the business season finished, it was kind of a little bit slow. So I said, you know what, I don't really mind to try other services, which was auditing and advisory. So, they need more people on the auditing team. And they were like, okay, you did good on doing taxes. So I know for sure you can do better on the auditing. So when I started doing auditing, I feel like, you know what, this is for me because of the first thing, I love the teamwork because I'm more kind of like a team guy. I love the teamwork, and most of the time, I feel like an FBI. Going into this different, yeah, like going to these different businesses and try to tell them, oh, I'm saying that you have cash. Can you prove that to me? It was really pretty cool, and I have to interact with a lot of people because I love interaction, to be honest. And since I started doing that, I started feeling more comfortable. I started feeling more involved. I started feeling the connection. Like, I was thinking about taxes, but I feel like, this is what I want to do. And since then, I just start getting more better, and better. So after that, I finished my internship. Within 3 to 4 months, I was promoted to associate two. That's the time I was able to be in charge, like with some other, like being in charge with some clients. Like whenever we have clients, I always be in charge. That's the time I have like two three workers that, like if they have questions they have to meet me. And that's the time I started interacting with the client, like if we need documents or we need support for us to do the auditing. So it was really cool. So I started doing it, and as time goes on, the responsibility started increasing, and up to this now, I'm an associate too. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, like with the science of accounting, there are, and this is something I would love for you to kind of like, for some of our folk that's out there in the audience that's watching, give them some ideas here. For the science of accounting, it's one of those things that it kind of like, it works a little different. And so when you were actually getting into that and knowing what credits and debits were, before learning to do postings on the general journal and the ledgers, and coming up with doing the balance sheets, the audit reports, and all of the other financial balances and things of that nature, what were some of the things that you had to get a grasp of yourself when it came to like doing just accounting in general?
I feel like accounting is more kind of like broad, but one of the thing I feel, because to be honest, when I started accounting, it was really difficult, and I
Mm-hmm.
have some of my friends, like Fino back in Africa, like Fino. I have Ishmael. I have Mans. They were really, really good. So one thing I usually do is like whenever I have difficulties trying to understand, because sometimes everyone have a different way that they understand stuff, right? And it was really, really hard for me because I'm more kind of like a detailed type of guy. I'm not really like memorizing stuff and quick, and
Yeah.
Ishmael and Mans, they are really good like memorizing stuff. Like they can, like understand stuff real fast, and they can understand how the professor was able to kind of like explaining stuff. So, most of the time, whenever we do a topic, I always go to them and be like, "Hey guys, can you like teach me?" And they were able to teach me the best way I was able to understand the accounting stuff. So, I use that in a way. I use that way for like I use that way, and I use that way so that I can like sometimes you have to understand your strength and have to understand how you can learn. So because of I know they are really good, so most of the time I always go to them and ask them. So when I came to the US, and I was like, you know what, I'm still gonna pursue accounting. I already have the background, so it was really kind of like easy. And another strength that I know that I have, like, sometimes when you share knowledge, you kind of like become an expert, like when you teach other people, you understand stuff more. So basically, I was not actually only helping them, I was actually helping myself too, because even sometimes if I'm kind of like lazy to study, and one of my fellow students be like, "Hey Alfred, do you understand this stuff?" I was like, even if I don't understand this stuff, I will still like go to them and say, "Yeah, give me time, let me look at it." That will make me go home and study really hard and come and explain to them like I'm the professor. So those are some of the two key things: one, asking question, and two, teaching people for them to understand.
Mhm. So, what are some of the most complex audits you've overseen, and how did you navigate them?
Well, mostly it's government audits. Government
Mhm.
audit is more kind of like very, very details, and sometimes it varies based on the county, because some county have different revenues. And like when I started doing audits, I was doing non-profit, and non-profit is more straightforward, very organized, but government is really, really hard. So when I like the first time when I did government, um what I did was I literally went like prior year back and see what they did, and then ask um questions to people that already have the experience and people that already done it. and research and try to make sure I follow the right procedures and all of that. So that's basically what I did. And mostly anyone that have experience in auditing will tell you that you always need to ask questions and research. So that was one of the things I did for me to kind of like able to walk through it. Like ask questions, go look at prior year and then research.
Wow. So, how do you ensure integrity and transparency in financial reporting?
Well, it's just make sure you follow the laws of the GGAP and other accounting websites, accounting laws, and everything. Because like no matter what you do, you have to follow these laws. And if you feel like this is not right, then you have to discuss that with your manager and make sure, hey, this is what going on, or I don't feel like this is right. There is some kind of like misstatement, or there's a kind of variances based on the revenues and other aspects of the financial statement, and then they will look at it and be like, yeah, you're right. The next step is try to talk to, like, explain the situation to the clients and make sure that this is what going on.
So, what role does technology play in modern auditing practices?
Well, it improve the productivity. Like back in the days, when most of our partners, they always told us that, like, the way that we are doing, um, auditing is by paper. Like they literally have to open this bunch of like documents, research, and try to find what they want to find. But now, because of technology, that's have improved a lot, to be honest. Because now, um, I can even be in my office and be able to audit you. All I can do is send emails to you and be like, hey, can you send me this document? And we have like a website which is called like a short link, and most of the time the client just send whatever documents we need for us to proceed with the auditing. So I think productivity, speed, and accuracy. I think those are the three things that technology have improved when it comes to auditing.
Okay. So, how do you stay updated with evolving accounting standards and regulations?
Well, I join most, like, I usually check on websites, and they usually give us a book that
Mhm.
have all the standard, like every year if they have new standards. And most of the time, like my job, they always update us. We have something like if we have questions too, we can ask the partners or other co-workers. So pretty much website, asking people around, and then the book that they always give us every year.
So, let me go back for a second. You mentioned GAAP as far as the principles in accounting and so forth. Can you tell us how regularly are you staying up on GAAP and also Sarbanes-Oxley, and how does Sarbanes-Oxley apply to accounting?
um ex- can you go more details, please?
Okay. Well, with Sarbanes-Oxley, Sarbanes-Oxley was put into effect after the crash of 2008, to where all of these large corporations and banks and things of that nature had to comply, with this standard and this law in accordance, well, not in accordance, but in conjunction with GAAP, to make sure that there was no fraud.
Yeah, to be honest with you, because the thing about accounting is just depend
Mhm.
based on position, and most of the time, we kind of like just we kind of like just focus more on the GAP aspects,
Okay.
yeah, because of accounting is really broad. It's not only like auditing. You have different section of accounting, but for the auditing field, it's more kind of like the GAP that we focus more on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what's your approach to risk management in financial operations?
So, risk management, basically, you have to, like, in life, it's all about risks, and but that doesn't mean you don't have to work on it for you to minimize it. And most of the time, companies usually have, like, they have their decision, and they know what it takes for them to make that decision. They know how many risks it takes for them to make that decision. And when it comes to accountants, we always have ways that how we can minimize, and some of these ways is by try to look at prior year and see what you have done, and try to look at your book and see, oh, try to see your expenses, try to see your revenue, and based on those information, those are the information that we use for us to be able to make a decision and decide, okay, this is the decision you have to do for you to minimize these risks, and all of that.
Oh, okay. Have you ever encountered ethical dilemmas in finance? If so, how did you handle them?
Yeah, when doing audits, sometimes you have a really connection with the client, and it's really, really critical because, when you, for example, if I audit you like 3, 4 times, we're gonna have a good relationship, So, that's the same thing for auditing, because most of the time we kind of like have a good relationship with our clients, but we always try to make sure that, hey, we might have a good relationship, but at the same time, I'm here to do the work. I'm here to make sure that you follow the right principle. I'm here to make sure that you follow the right procedures of whatever you said. I'm here to make sure that whatever you have in your account, you know, it's kind of like it's the same with what you have in the bank and with what you have in the book, and they always understand that. And sometimes there's a situation where we have a client that, like, there's a situation where there's something not right, and I have to report that to the because the thing is, if you don't report, your license is gonna be at stake. You're gonna lose the job, and I might have a good relationship with you, but I value myself more. I care about myself more. So that's the main important thing. So they always understand that. So whenever I see something that is not right, I'm gonna report that to my manager and make sure that, hey, they have to look in details about this situation. So yeah.
So, what advice would you give to young professionals entering the accounting field?
Yeah, even for you to do the degree, it's really hard. So, I would just advise for them to keep pushing, because accounting is a really, really good degree. And you will not know until you have the degree. That's the time you realize that you have a lot of opportunity, because you can be an auditor, you can be a tax preparer, you can even be a bookkeeper, you can be a financial analyst. Like, there's so much opportunity when it comes to audit, when it comes to accounting. So it's hard, and there's a reason why it's hard, because if it's easy, a lot of people should have do it. So if you have the perseverance, if you have the determination, just keep pushing, and when you have your degree, you're not going to regret. Keep believing yourself.
So, how do you balance compliance with innovative and financial systems?
So, financial, I would say it's not really hard. It's just, but now, because of technology, everything is more kind of like easy for you to balance. And like, the compliance is kind of like more more hard, and innovative. How technology nowadays have improved and all of that. So it's not really easy, and to be honest, even up to this now, I see it like very, very difficult for me to balance everything. But we have to understand how technology is growing rapidly, and you have to make sure that like you are more updated to whatever technology now, the AI. And to be honest with me, I use AI too. Like, if I have some certain questions, when it comes to auditing and all of that, or if I want to do something, I always do AI because so that's the thing. Like when they're out there, you have to use them, and they always make our job more productive and very accuracy.
So, can you tell us, like from the AI perspective? Because I remember this was like maybe 4 years ago. I think they were talking about when people had started to integrate AI, that AI was actually coming for the accounting arena. So, can you tell us, in using AI, how do you find it? Do you find it to be much more easier and comfortable to use it in certain parts of your work, or is it something that's going to be that you think is just got to be integrated throughout the entire arena of accounting?
Well, AI make the work more easy. Well, I feel like that's a good question because when AI just came out, most of the young accountants we ask questions, and one of the partner told us that how we don't have to worry about it. It's just that AI is gonna help, and no matter what, they're always gonna need an accountant. They're always gonna need an auditor. They're always gonna need a tax preparer because AI can give you as more information, but some certain decision you need someone. You need someone that think like a human, for them to give you the best decision. So right now, I don't know for the future, but at this moment I feel like AI have helped a lot when it comes to productivity. And sometimes if I want to write a letter or want to write an email, I try to draft the email and then use AI to try to make sure that everything is accurate and really good, and before you have to be there like how many 30 minutes for you to make sure that okay, am I doing the right thing? But AI can do that like within a seconds, so we don't really have to worry about that as an auditor, or as an accountant, but you just have to utilize it, and most of now most of the time recently, most of the software that we use kind of like have AI on them, and they pretty much help a lot for us to be able to be productive with our work, so I feel like AI increase productivity rather than just get rid of our work, get rid of accountants. Yeah.
So, what's your take on the future of AI in auditing and accounting?
I feel like there's always gonna be an auditor. It's just that, like I said before, it's just that it's gonna really help productivity. It's gonna make sure our work become more easier. It's gonna make sure our work become more productive. It's gonna make sure our work become more accuracy. Because of previously it's gonna like there was it was like increase in like mistakes and all of that, but now like AI is kind of like helping for us. It's kind of like helping in a way that make sure that we are more productive, make sure that we ask the right question, make sure that we do the right thing, make sure that our job is more accurate.
So, do you think, and not just with AI, but do you think that as we progress, let's just say over the next 5 to 10 years, do you see accounting getting more on the tech side, or do you think there's going to be a whole lot more added to the manual side of people that's old as me that's so used to writing down things?
No, no, I think it's going to be more on the tech side. We all know how the technology is improving every day, and we never know. It might be in the next 5 years, or we're going to be having robots sitting in the office doing the audit work. Who knows? But yeah, it's like when it comes to technology, it's have improved a lot. And to be honest with you, we all want our work to become more easier, and sometimes we have to utilize it because if you said okay, oh, I'm not going to use technology, I'm going to use the old way, trust me, you're going to spend more time doing auditing or doing your work or whatsoever, and that you have a competitors out there, and you have to match with them, and some of your competitors, they don't really care as long as there's productivities and accuracy and as long as you like productivity is increasing, they will go for it. They will use as much technology they can use. And if you're there and be like, all right, I'm not gonna use that, I'm still gonna use the old way, you're gonna left behind. And if you don't be careful, you're gonna lose your company and all of that. So yeah, I feel like technology, like most companies usually like try very hard to lean on technology rather than doing the old ways.
So tell us, what is it that makes you like AI so much? Why do you like AI so much?
Because it makes my work more productive. Even when you don't really, even when AI just came out and we didn't actually use much, like my job was not actually using a lot of AIs. I already start using it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna find a way for me to utilize it. If there's questions or if there is a way that it can help me to format my emails, if there is a way that it can help me to show me how I can ask questions, it's all about you trying to utilize it. And I was way ahead until I started saying that, oh, my email is using AI. Like you can write your email like on Outlooks or whatsoever you're using, and then the email is gonna give you option for it to like fix all your grammars and whatsoever. So I'm like, I already started using this even before it's on the
Oh,
email,
wow.
it's on the Gmail now and whatever. So yeah, me, I love technology because it really speed up. Because sometimes if I can spend 5 minutes on trying to write a long email, because when you send email, you have to make sure it's very very professional. You understand? And I have to do work. What I would do is I would just write the whole email and then tell AI, I'm like, AI, can you try to edit this? And recently I'm seeing the emails doing it now. Like you can write a whole email and the email will give you options. So I was like, all right, cool. I think I was on the right track.
So, how do you assess financial health beyond the balance sheet?
So financial health is one of, so I would more kind of like focus on individual, right? This is not about company or whatsoever.
Mhm.
One of the most difficult thing in America right now is how you can have financial health because of there's a lot of ways that you can spend money. And if you can see all around us, like everything have become more expensive. Even the things that we need have become more expensive. And it's really very important for you to have a financial health, for you to have strategy that you can save your money and make sure you spend it the right way and make sure you have enough to invest. So some of the key things for you to have a financial health is savings and investment, and make sure that you try to minimize your expenses. Because for example, if you're making like a $50,000 yearly, 50K yearly, try to make sure that your expenses, your bills, which is your bills, your rent or your mortgage, it's 50% of your salary. So your expenses should be like at least 50%, no more than that. And the rest 50%, try to save it. And the like try to save some like 20% and try to invest some. And if you keep on doing it, it's really gonna help it. But most people right now, they are making 50,000 and their expenses is like 60, 70,000 dollars. And it's really hard. As soon as you miss one paycheck, that's it. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna lose everything. You're gonna lose your house. You're gonna lose. So sometimes you don't even want to miss one paycheck. And some people, they have to do two jobs. So I always said, it's like everyone want to live a better life, and right now it's so hard because they have different options that they can convince you to buy something. You can see a car that costs $50,000, and they're gonna say, "Oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay the 50,000. Just pay $400 every month." You know what I mean? But
Oh my!
yeah,
The back door.
yeah. It's like don't worry, man. You know what? You got this. so this is just a short story. I remember when you know, doing a regular job, right? And then, you know, my car messed up, so I didn't actually have enough money to like purchase a car, you know, because it was on plan. So I went to the dealership and I said, "Oh, I need a car, but this is my budget. I need something. I don't want my I don't want my bill to be more than $300." And he was like, all right, cool. So we went, look. And there was this car that he said, oh, the car was like $20,000. I'm like, no, I don't want this car because of, I know for sure my bills is going to be like 500. Then he said, listen, don't worry about it. Tell me how much you make. Then I told him, I was like, oh, I make $18 an hour. It's like, you can get this. You know, you can get it. Don't be scared. Then I said, well, if I try to purchase this, it's going to be difficult for me to have money for me to save. Then he was like, don't worry about it. You know, if you pay this amount, you pay your house, you can have $100. You can have a couple of $100 to buy burger for you to eat. I'm like, I'm like, you thinking about the burgers, man? What about the money that I need to save for, you know, situation that unplanned situation and all of that? So you just, I know for sure he was just thinking about selling the car. He don't really care if I'm gonna be able to pay for the car next month. He don't really care if I'm gonna be able to pay for the car the next following year. All he cares is about selling the car to me. So that's the time. And to be honest with you, a lot of people are out there that always go through situation like that. You know, it's just because of I was very strict when it comes to budgets. If I said this is what I want, no matter what, I'm not going above that. So I feel like that really helped me. And you know, I was able to get, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come back the next time. So what I did was I went to Kavana and then did everything for myself and was able to have a car that I was able to afford. So you see, yeah.
So, what's one financial principle you believe everyone should understand?
I will say budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because budgeting is very important because sometimes it really helps you to kind of like put you in a like in the bracket for you to know that okay, you don't have to go above this. And the thing about budgeting is basically, I'm talking about individual, right? It's basically um it kind of really helps you not to go above your limit. And most of the time, a lot of people don't really budget. You know, they always just say, "Okay, I want this. I'm going for it. I don't really care if I can afford it. You know, I don't really care about that. What I care is that I really, really want this stuff. You know, and sometimes you can get it at the moment, but you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I feel like if everyone know that principle about budgeting, it's gonna really help them to manage and make the right decision.
So, how do you mentor junior accountants or auditors in your organization?
Well, like my job, we have events that they usually go to different colleges and try to um talk to students that want to be an auditor or account. So most of the time, I always join that. And whenever I go there, you know, sometimes we have a topic that we talk about. Like even the last time, you know, I was talking about constructive criticism, you know, which is, you know, a lot of people don't really like when you give them criticism about something that can really help them to improve. So I was there and I was talking to them for them to understand that it's something that is really, really important in your life. You know, no matter how much you are, no matter how much you're good on something, there's always an improvement. There's always a room for improvement. And if you like, even me, like at work, I always ask questions. I'm like, hey, what can I improve on? And that really helps me to be better. You know, that really helps me to improve at my work and all of that. So I always, you know, talk to them, motivate them. Like I always tell them, hey, accounting is not easy, but you just gotta believe. You know, if you want this, you gotta keep pushing. And when you finish, trust me, you're gonna reap your benefits. You understand? So I always motivate them, and I always advise them to like study very hard. Like if they have any questions, they have to research and all of that.
Well, we got a comment here in the chat. It's from Anthony Fano. He says he can't wait to tap into your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you,
Let me show it.
Anthony.
Show it to you here on the screen.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you, Anthony. Just sit down and be ready. I'm ready to share knowledge.
So, what's the most rewarding part of working in finance?
Well, it's about networking, and motivation. Because, like I said, I always like to inspire people. Like I love to share my knowledge. I love the mentorship. I love to help people that want to grow. And then the interaction is meeting clients, meeting different people that have different knowledge. You learn from them, you learn from their experience. So those are the two key things that I really love. The mentorship and the networking.
Okay. So let's transition over to your work in leadership and organizational impact. Tell us, how would you describe your leadership style?
Well, I would say I am a very um I'm very determined, and I'm I'm motivated. Like I want to see other people grow. Like if I'm the leader of everything, I want your own ideas. I can't be the only smart person. You might say something that can really help me to unlock something that I want to apply, in whatever. So I'm more kind of like, be yourself. If you have knowledge that you want to share, feel free to meet me. Don't be scared to make mistakes. Always push yourself. So I'm more kind of like a like I'm always kind of like a motivational leader. Motivate people that one day you can be a leader. So yeah, that's what I feel like.
Okay. So, what's the biggest leadership challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it?
This happened when, like, the first time I become a supervisor, but that was not auditing or accounting stuff. That was when I was working for this company, and that was my first time being a supervisor. It was really hard for me because of I was very young, and I was in charge of people that were more older than me. So that little bit like intimidation stuff was kind of like there. But I try to do a lot of research. I try to do a lot of research and try to, like, read about the principle that try to read about the principle that I can learn as a leader. And because of that, I was able to study and learn about those principles, and then able to imply those principles at my job. And the next time, because I was like, no one was like respecting me or trying to listen to me, even if I say, hey, can you do that? So the first thing I did was I tried to make sure I do the right thing. Make sure I go to work very early. Make sure I work very hard for them to see that, okay, if this guy is working, I don't have no choice. I have to work. So I try to make sure I show them, hey, I know I'm the supervisor, but I'm ready to do anything. So when I started doing that, it was really, I was more comfortable to tell them, because I was so scared to tell them that go work. And when they said no, it was really hard for me to report them, because of they would say, oh, he's not even doing his own work too. You know what I mean? And but since I started realizing that I have to be an example, that really gave me the confidence. And since then, anytime I tell them, hey, do this, do that, they always listen to me. So after that, even my other job, I just keep on using the same principle, and that really works very well.
Well, I got another comment here in the chat. I'll put it on the screen. It's from Muddy. He says, no matter how good you are, there's always room for improvement. And he says he liked that one.
Yes, that's true. No matter how good you are, there's always a room. Always open to learn from anyone. It doesn't really matter if it's an accountant or is working at the store, is the cleaner, whatsoever. Everyone have a knowledge that can improve your life. You know.
So, how do you build trust within your teams?
Well, it's based on how knowledge how knowledgeable you are when it comes to what we are doing. If I feel like, okay, if I give you something and I realize that you can do it, and with less mistakes, or you ask a lot of questions, that can really give me enough trust for me to feel more comfortable to be like, okay, you know what you're doing. I don't really have to worry about it. So it's just depend on your experience. That's why if you know something, you gotta say it. If you don't know, come to me, ask me. I will be happy to share or explain to you, or advise you, or find ways that I can help you for you to become better.
So, what role does emotional intelligence play in your leadership approach?
Um so in life, sometimes there's always gonna be a decision that you have to take that includes emotion, because when you work with people, you create this relationship that can increase emotion, that can increase emotion, which will affect your decision. And I feel like sometimes you have to let people understand that, hey, I'm cool, we are cool, we are nice, but we have to follow the rules, we have to make sure we do the right thing. And sometimes it's really hard, it's challenging, but you have to be strong. That's what they call leadership. You have to look at someone. Even sometimes my family always tell me that, oh, I am very blunt, like, it's not everything you have to tell someone. Sometimes you just have to chill. But I feel like if you do something wrong, and I come to you and say, hey, what you do, it's not really right, please next time do it this way. It can really help you to become better. Even though some certain people are very, very um like, they take things very personal, but I feel like it's always, you have to deal with that. So you always, as a leader, you always have to have that courage to look at people that you have relationship with, people that you like, your friends, your family. Look at them and find a way to give them a constructive criticism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, how do you foster diversity and inclusion in your workplace?
Well, like my workplace, it's really good. They try really hard for diversity to be in place, because we have, different race working there, and most of the time, um, we have different gender working there. So I feel like it's really important, because every race, every diversity have a different culture. They have something that they have something that they can bring. So like, my job is doing great on that, to be honest, and it's a really good thing, because of you when you meet people with different culture, you learn a lot from them. Because like sometimes, like when some of them go for vacation, we're like, hey man, how is your vacation? Just you hearing what you're saying, their experience is really, really cool. And that's what I love about diversity, like knowing your knowledge about your culture.
Mhm. So, what's your strategy for leading through change or uncertainty?
um so sometimes a lot of us don't like change.
Mhm.
And I feel like whenever there is change, um it's gonna decrease productivities. You're gonna feel a little bit uncomfortable. But as soon as you guys understand what's going on, or understand the new software, whatever things that change the work or whatsoever, it's really it's really gonna improve the work. And most of the time, I feel like there's a reason for a change. If the management realize and be like, hey, we have to move from this software to this software, I feel like there's a reason, and there's something that they want to achieve. It might be that they want to increase productivity. It might be that they want to increase accuracy. And for me, I don't really have any issue with that. Like if situation like that happen, I would love to learn, try to put more effort, put more time on it. If it's like a new software, I would love to put more time on it and make sure that um I'm able to understand what's going on and try to learn the software as soon as possible. So I love change. I don't really have issues as long as you love to learn. You're not gonna have no issue with change.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell me this? How do you measure success as a leader?
So I feel like it's all about your journey, you know. And I feel like sometimes we all have different goals, but you never know what you have learned to achieve these goals. You understand? It might be something that you plan for. It might be something that you didn't even plan for. There is gonna be a situation where things gonna be hard, but trust me, don't really focus on the situation. Just focus on the information that you're having. Focus on the things that you're learning from it. So I feel like it's the journey and the things that you achieve throughout your journey for you to be successful. And another thing again I will add is like your call, what you call. It's like some people, like for example, I want to be an accountant, right? But one of the things I love to do, one of my calling I love to do is trying to share knowledge to people, try to teach, try to make sure I inspire other people to become better. You might be in a situation where I might have the magic words to say to you that can change your life. I've been in a situation where I have some of my coworker that want to stop doing accounting, but I was like, hey, God, God helped me to God helped me with these magical words for me to say to them, and they were able to continue. And trust me, it's so beautiful when you go out there and they say, because I remember last year I went to her engagement, and he was like, you see this guy have helped me a lot. He helped me in my career. He's the one that made me achieve this goal. He's the one that made me become an accountant. And I really, really appreciate. He was saying all this good stuff to her husband, and I feel so inspired. I feel like I achieve a lot. So it just depend. um what you do is depend on how you can add values to other people, and that's one thing I love, and that's one thing I would consider as success. When like it's not even me being an accountant, it's me adding values to people life. you
Mhm.
know yeah, that's what I see as success.
Well, Alfred, I got to say this, and just when you see a young leader like yourself, that in itself is success, and I'm that's what I'm really proud to have you here to share this story, because you've got a lot of things that you're doing, that there are an enormous amount of young folk that's just like yourself that wants to get into professional fields. And so just as we listen to what you're this knowledge that you're giving us at this point, I want you to know that this is more than just a help. This is more than just a teaching moment. This is where you're one of those heroes out there in the community that a lot of people should seek out in order to learn just that much more, because a lot of people don't understand what it is to share this knowledge and keep the community growing.
Yeah, you're right. It's really important for you to add values to the community, because you never know how many people life you can change. You might say one word, and maybe someone is out there that need that words, that word that you're saying. And situation like that, it's that's what I call success, add
Mhm.
value to the community.
What's one leadership lesson you learned the hard way?
Is how you have to be disciplined. Like when I said discipline, is basically starting, like discipline. You have to start the discipline within yourself. You have to make sure that if you want to be a leader, you have to do the right thing. If you are telling someone, hey, you have to come to work 8 p.m. or 8 a.m., sorry, you have to be there 7:55. You know what I mean? If you're telling someone you have to be productive, you have to be more productive. So I feel like that's one thing I learned the hard way, because of, I feel like if you're a leader, oh, okay, you just have to relax. You don't have to do much. You just have to let other people do all the work. But that's wrong. You have to do times two, because everyone is looking at you. Everyone wants to see what you're doing. What's your next step? You have to be the thinker. You have to make the right decision. You have to motivate people. You have to find a way that you can connect individual as a team. And those are difficult things that you have to do. And for you to achieve those things, you have to have a self-discipline. You have to make sure that I'm ready. I'm ready to be out there. If there is a gunfight, I'm ready to be front. And if you look at most of those leaders, most of those leaders like the Dr. Luther King, the Dr. Luther King, you can see them that they were out there, like they will be like, hey, I know what it takes. I don't really care if I have to give my life, but I have to be out there. I have to show myself. If I believe in this stuff, everyone will believe in this. So that's one of the things I feel like, I learned the hard way. For you to be self-disciplined and make sure that you work very hard more than everyone.
So, how do you handle conflict resolution among team members?
Sometimes I always, like, the first thing I always try to do is to invite them individually and
Mhm.
talk to them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then listen to them. When I listen to them and listen with both parties, I always try to find a ways how I can make them understand that, hey, I know you guys have differences, but the most important thing is for us to achieve this project as a team. Try to find a way that they can be able to understand how they can deal with the other co-workers. Try to make sure that they understand that the main goal is for us to work as a team to achieve this project. So it's basically understand the situation and make sure that I try to find an answer, and make sure that they understand that the most important thing is the team rather than individual.
So, what's your approach to decision making under pressure?
Well, I always try to make sure that I have to manage my pressure, make sure that I do a lot of research, make sure that if I'm working as a team, make sure that I try to share the knowledge within my team, try to see what they have, try to know if my knowledge makes a lot of sense, and communicate with the team and make sure they all have saying, and know that, okay, this, like what you're saying make a lot of sense, and I think we have to do it this way, or there's a better way. Sometimes you might say something, but someone might have a must reform. If I ask you the first phone that was created, and now compare the first phone to the current phone that we are using, it's a big difference. Back in the days, it was so difficult for us to even work with our cell phone, but nowadays it's so easy. So sometimes you might have an idea, but you can always have someone that can transform that idea into something better.
Mhm. So, how do you balance strategic vision with day to day operations?
Um. So for you to have a strategic vision is for you to understand the situation, you know, and try to make sure you have knowledge about the situation. So most of the time, that's what I usually do. I try to understand what's going on. I try to make sure that um I know what I'm doing. Even sometimes when I'm working on a new client, I try to understand the industry of the client, try to see what they have been doing the prior year, and make sure that I have a little bit knowledge. So those are some of the qualities that I usually use for me to connect those things.
So, what's your philosophy on empowering others?
I feel like it's really important because of when you have a lot of when you empower a lot of people in whatever way, um, helping them to become successful, it's improve it's improved life as a whole. You know what I mean? It improve the quality of the community. When you have successful people in the community, it improve the community as a whole. So I feel like it's a really great thing for everyone to do because of the more people you empower, the more knowledge of people that you're gonna have in the community.
So, let's give you this scenario. What if, when empowering the community, you've got like let's say two, three, four people that are just still on the fence and they're standing there just looking. How do you get them over so you can empower them? What do you do for them?
Well, I will try to meet them and try to understand what's going on and try to explain to them the importance of what we are doing. Like doing those two strategy can really help me. Maybe that can really help them to convince their mind, because sometimes you can't go to someone and say, hey, I want you to join us. You have to explain what's going on, and you have to find a way that you can tell them the importance of the situation. And sometimes when you do that, that can really help them to reason out and be like, hey, you know what, let me go try and see what's going on. So yeah, I think those are the two strategies that I can use for situation like that.
So, how do you cultivate future leaders within your organization?
As future leaders, I always try to motivate them. I always try to share my ideas. I always try to let them feel comfortable to always come to me, because the thing about um working, it's not only about the job. Sometimes it might be personal thing, because I remember when I was I have a meeting with my mentor, and he really explained some key things that was not like does not really related to that does not really related to work. He was telling me about investing on house, like buy houses, and all of those stuff. He was telling me about the importance of having your CPA. He was giving me his experience on how, you know, like how like the effort, the perseverance that he puts for him to have a CPA. He was giving me advice on how to study for my CPA. So, it was really pretty cool. So it was not only about, okay, do this project. He was really inspiring me, in other way rounds. And up to now, I always say, if I have enough money, I will want to invest in houses, because of him. So I feel like I want to use the same mentorship to help future leaders, for them to understand that, hey, apart from career, but there's other things that you can know. There's other knowledge that you can have for you to become a better person. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what's a leadership book or resource that deeply influenced you?
Um, uh, it's called, I don't know if what's it? Something Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I don't really like to read, but that's the only book I sat down and read. My uncle gave it to me when I graduated, and I was like, you know what, let me read it, and it was really inspiring because I learned a lot, and it kind of like connect to me because looking at my journey when we was not rich, and now I'm an accountant. I'm not really really rich, but I'm doing better. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of like connect to me. You see the difference. You see life in different ways. You see life as a poor dad. You see life as a rich dad. So yeah, that's one of the book that I would say that kind of like connect to me.
So, how do you maintain personal growth while leading others?
Um, I always try to make sure that if you want to be better, you have to even improve yourself. So there is some objectives and goals that like personally I want to achieve, which is having my CPA, become better, read books, make sure that I have more knowledge and become a very good leader. And on the other way around, I try to use all those knowledge and share it so future leaders, share it to co-workers, share it to like motivate mentor co-workers or student I want to become. So I feel like the more I become better, the more I have more knowledge to share to people that really need it, you know.
Okay. Now, as you mentioned, this one somebody was trying to help you to understand and learn more about you taking the exam to get your CPA. Can you tell us what are some of those things besides getting your CPA that you want to do in order to not only enhance yourself but how you can enhance people around you? What are some of those things that you want to do?
To be honest with you, I want to like I want to be in this type of events, where I can share my knowledge. I feel like the more I talk, the more I do stuff like that, that can really improve me to be able to do it, like a very big audience. And even like 2 years ago, I went to this school in Sierra Leone.
Mhm.
It's like an NGO school, which is students go there for free. My auntie owns the school. They don't have to pay for nothing. Everything is free. I went there and I was able to mentor, share my ideas, share my knowledge, and I was able to mentor those students. Tell them that you gotta believe in yourself, no matter where you are. I was in Sierra Leone, but now I'm in the U.S. Having my undergrad and having my MBA. And another thing again is that I never thought I'm gonna have a 4 point GPA. I thought I was not knowledgeable enough for me to have a 4 point. Even when I was like back home, when I see students having 3.5, I was like, damn, they're really smart. But I never know that I can do that until when I start believing in myself. So my key word was believe. Because when you believe in something, when you believe in yourself, no matter what, you can put the strength, you can put the effort for you to achieve that. When I did my undergrad, I have 3.8 GPA, and I was like, you know what? I think I can have 4 point. But when I was back home, I was struggling. I was having maybe 2.9 or whatsoever, But I was like, I think I can do better. I think I'm smart. I can achieve those goals. So, I believe in myself. I came here. I tried for my undergrad. I was so close, and I said I'm going for my masters, and I was able. And yeah, I was there, and I was able to have my 4 point GPA and graduate as one of the best students at Clayton State. And I even won another award as leadership.
Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you so much.
Let's transition over to your work in social impact and community engagement. Can you tell us what drives your passion for social impact work?
I feel like it's adding values to people. Like, you know,
Mhm.
I started this in college. You know how sometimes it's like it's you might think it's easy, you know, or you might like sometimes it might be easy for you, but it might not be easy for someone else. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to motivate people. You have to push. And when I did it, in college, and then the result was so perfect. Like I told you, I was out there having fun, and this lady was so happy to see me, and she was telling her husband that if she's an accountant today, I'm the reason. And that really feels like that feels so amazing, because I feel like I add value to someone's life. Because there was a time where she wanted to quit, you know, she was like, I can't do this, it's too much, but I was there. I pushed her. I told her to believe in herself. That's the word I'm saying. Believe. You gotta believe. Like, we all smart, but sometimes we don't know. We think, oh, you know, I'm not. No, we are. But if you believe in yourself, you're gonna put the hard work. So I feel like adding values to people's life, it's something that really wants me to be out there and share my knowledge and share my story, so that people can understand that you have to believe in yourself. You know.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. And that is so inspirational. You
Thank
know,
you.
that I mean, that people have to take a lot of keys from that. And, you know, again, as you say, how, I mean, I want you to do this for me as we're talking about this right now.
Okay.
I want you to take us back to the moment where you arrived here from Sierra Leone and you had to adjust to the new culture, the new environment, the things that you wanted to do, the things you wanted to accomplish. Tell us, how did you get from that point to this point?
All right, so I was in college when I came to the US, right?
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest to you, I was not that hardworking student, but I have my friends that they were very hardworking and smart, you know. And because in Sierra Leone, year one, year two, you're gonna be on the same standard. But as soon as you go to year three, they're gonna divide like the ones that have above 3 point GPA. And if you have below 2 point GPA, you know, you're gonna be in general. So we have like honors and general. So I remember when I was in year three, year two to year three, when the list came out, all my friends went to honors. I was the only one that was in general, with, you know, other few of my friends. But like my main friends, all of them went to honors. And something hit me up, and I was like, wait, you know, I think if I ever have the opportunity to go back to school, I'm gonna fix this. So because of that, I felt so bad, because it was really hard for me to even see them, you know, because they have a different time that they come for classes, and I have a different time that I come for classes. So when I came to the US and I said, you know what, I'm gonna achieve this goal. I'm gonna make sure I have a higher GPA, more than 3 points. So when I came here, it was not really easy for me, because even though my country we speak English, but like the culture is different. I have to work too, because back home I was not working. My mom and my dad was taking care of me, but here I have to work to take care of myself, and I have to go to school. I was doing a full-time job, night shift, and I have to after work I have to come home, take a shower, and go to class. That's what I was doing my old 3 4 years in college. But it was not really easy. You know, I have to be disciplined. I have to make sure I study, do all my quizzes, do all my assignments, and study very hard for me to achieve the goals of having a 3 points more GPA. And guess what? I was able, because of our self discipline. That's where I understand that you have to criticize yourself. You have to accept constructive criticism. there's always a room for improvement. You have to improve yourself. If so, when I started, I was having B. That's how I have like the 3.8, because some of my classes we are kind of like B's, B A B. Like I was having like 2A, 2B, something like that. And I said, you know what? I want to improve that. I want to have 4A's. Let me see. I just have to put more effort. Like what I'm doing is working hard. Like it's working for me. I just have to put more effort, and that's what I did. I keep on studying very hard. If I was studying like 2 hours, I was doing it 4 hours. And at the end of the next semester, I was able to have 4 A's. Then what I did next was adding more classes. So I was doing 4 classes. Then I had it, and then I started having adding more 5, 6 classes. And even that time, I was even able to work too. I didn't have enough life. I was not even going out for parties and all of that. I was like straight work, school, and study. And by the time I finished, I was able to end up with a 3.8 GPA. So, and I feel good. And I said, you know what? I achieve a lot. Like the 2 point that I had back home, I changed it. I was able to have 3.8. So my next target was to go to 4 point, and I was able to even do the 4 point, and I graduated as a 4 point GPA. So yeah, that was kind of like in a summary. That was my journey. I was just trying to test myself and know how much I can go. Try to unlock my hard work and my my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need you. I've got a technical issue here. I want you to hold on here for just a second before I get to my next question, please.
All right, no problem.
Can you hear and see me?
Yes, I can hear and see you.
My screen started blinking.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I hope y'all can just forgive me for that. But I wanted to make sure that that was squared away because the interview has gone really well so far. Can you tell us? Can you share a project or initiative that made a meaningful difference in your community?
Um, I I feel like it was the project at my job where like we go to black colleges
Hmm.
and try to motivate black students, like accounting students, give speech and all of those stuff. So it was really inspiring me because I was able to have students come up to me after the meeting and said, "Hey man, you said a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff from you today." And every time I see people come up to me, it really inspired me to do more. That's why when you came to me and said, "Hey, I want you on my podcast," I was like, "Hey man, let's go." I don't I don't really I don't really care if you pay me or not, but I feel like I want this opportunity. It's something that I really want to do and help people, motivate people, make people better. You never know who wants to listen to this. You never know who need these words. So I might say something here, but that might change someone's perception about life. That might help someone to believe in themselves and become great for themselves, and help community.
Yes. How do you integrate financial expertise into social justice efforts?
Well, I more kind of look at the constraint or the issues a lot of families are going through, which is financial health, and a lot of people, like my friends, they always meet me and they ask me questions. Like I have a lot of friends that would come to me and ask me about taxes. They would come to me and even ask me about um finances in marriage and all of those stuff. So, like me explaining my knowledge, giving them advices, because when I give advices, I give with examples. That's why most of the time they always say, "Oh, you talk a lot," because I want you to understand what I'm saying. A lot of people that use it become successful. I'm not gonna tell you do this. No, I'm gonna give you example, and I'm gonna make sure I try to find an example of people that you know. You understand? So, I always try to do that, and sometimes I think there is always that key that I have that I always try to unlock the door and make them understand that what you're saying make a lot of sense. So that's what I really like, that's what I usually do, and I always use my financial expertise, financial knowledge, and try to build up an advice. I'm not gonna like take everything from the book. I'm using the book, using my own knowledge, blend everything together with more clinical examples of people that so that you can understand that, hey, just try it. And most of the time I always have a good result, so yeah.
I
That's
have
what I
another
usually do.
great comment for you that's here in the chat, and I'm sure that I don't know if you know this young man, and I hope I say your name right, Alaji Jalo. He says, "I can relate to some of your experiences as I am also from Sierra Leone, and coming from a third world country is definitely a new world."
Yeah, it's right. Like I said, most of us have kind of like a similar journey, and most people are going through those journey too, and some people don't have the belief. So me being out there, sharing my experience, sharing my knowledge, I think that can really give them more beliefs, and give them the inspiration for them to keep pushing, keep persevering.
Mm. And can you tell us, what role does financial literacy play in empowering underserved communities?
A lot, but one of the things I will take from that is like me sharing knowledge to people that are having difficulties to have a financial health, a healthy finance. And sometimes I've met someone that said, "Oh, I can't save my money. Like I'm trying so hard, this bills or whatever I see online I want to buy." And to be honest with you, even me sometimes it's really hard for me
Mhm.
because sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to buy a sneakers, right? And I don't know if this phone can hear what, like, can even like detect my heart and be like, "I know you want the sneakers." Like that all week, they're gonna make sure they give me different sneakers. And right now, it's so hard for you to manage. It's so hard for you to have a self discipline because we are on we are on our phone all the time. And as soon as you open the phone, you can see Amazon, you can see Shein, you can see all these platforms that sell stuff with discounts. Can you imagine? So if you want something, you're gonna be like, what? It's cheap. Let me just buy. Because I really need it. And sometimes you will end up buying something that you don't even plan to buy, or you don't even have enough money for you to buy them. So yeah, it's something that it's really hard to control nowadays because of it's so much sellers out there, and whenever people come to me, sometimes even if you don't ask me question, as soon as you talk about how you spend, something in me will always tell me say something, and I will literally come out and explain to you some of some of the things that you can change, that you can save a lot of money. Like one time I was talking to my sister back home, and she was telling me, "Oh, I spend, let me just use the dollar amount, right? I spend $50 on transportation to go to work." Then I said, "How do you go to work?" "Oh, I use the motorcycle because it's faster." Then I said, "You know what? If you use the bus, you're gonna spend $10. You know that?" I'm just trying to make an example. I said, "You know that?" He's like, "How?" "Just wake up very early and make sure you find one of the drivers. Try to be friend with them because the bus system is a little bit different from the US. Try to be friend with them and say, hey, if you are paying $10 to go to work, tell the driver that, hey, I need your number. Every money I will pay you $15. But please keep the seats for me." So mind you, you were spending $50, but now guess what? You only spent $15 and you were saving like $35. So, and since then, he was like, yo, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes some people don't really have enough time to think that way. And when you check that $35 every day, that you literally saving 50% of your salary for the month, because she was telling me that like all our salaries is going on transportation, and just that conversation that we had. So how I have all this knowledge is doing accounting, because accounting, we always try to minimize costs. That's how businesses sometimes they make profit. It's not only about increasing prices, it's about minimizing costs. When you minimize costs, you still can make more profit. So I always look at situation, whatever situation, and I can be able to find a solution, for your situation. Yeah.
So, how do you choose which cause to support or champion?
Which cause to support?
Yes, or champion. This is we're still on your social impact and your community engagement.
Can you go like more deep in details?
When say which cause, so like when you're in the community, and if there's an initiative or there are initiatives that either you want to start or ones that are there, how do you choose which causes to support or to champion? When you support it, you're just being a supporter, like, maybe donating of some sort. But if you're supporting it, then that means that you are a part of it.
Yeah, so it just depends on something that I can relate to or something that I have knowledge. For example, if they have a situation where they need someone that can speak to the community on how to save money or anything related to finances, yeah, you got me. I can jump there. Like let's just say an example, like how you come to me like, hey, I want you to talk on finance. Well, if you come to me and said, I want you to talk about technology, I don't have no knowledge about technology. You know what I mean? I might give you a few. I might talk about AI, but that's all. But when you said about finance, I was like, yeah, let's go because I have knowledge. So it's depend on the situation and my knowledge and how I can connect that. So if something different and something that I can just say, hey, just be online and listen or share, I can just share to other people that they can come and listen to your podcast. But because of it's something that it's not related to me. But if you talk about finance, I'm like, you got to put me in because I'm ready. I have so much knowledge about finance that I want to share. So yeah, it's depend on my knowledge and the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your view on corporate responsibility in today's society?
Well, I feel like they actually need to find a way to make sure that they hire a lot of people. Corporate make sure that corporate hire a lot of people and make sure that whatever service that they render to the community is more reasonable to be affordable. You know what I mean? Because like my job, we do taxes, we do auditing, and all of this stuff, and I feel like it's very important for corporate to create jobs and corporate to um gives out reliable and accurate service out there, you know.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, how do you use your platform to advocate for equity and inclusion?
It's about sharing knowledge, try to speak for people that we all have the same story, and try to make sure other people understand that this is what we are going through. Try to explain my story, explain my knowledge, explain other people's story. So it's all about connecting um other people experience, and yeah, to the other stuff. Yeah.
So, what advice do you have for professionals who want to make a social impact?
Well, I will say, when you have knowledge, try to inspire other people. You
Mhm.
know, try to mentor other people. Whatever. A lot of people have gives me knowledge. My managers, different people out there, regular people. People with different careers, younger kids, even younger professionals. Like, I've learned a lot from different people, and I feel like if we all keep on doing the same, you're gonna really help a lot of people to be knowledgeable. So whatever career you are, even if you're an accountant, even if you're a nurse, even like whatever career you're doing, always try to come out there and talk to people. And you never know who you're gonna change. You never know who you're gonna inspire. So you never know who you're gonna teach that day. You know what I mean? So always try to share your knowledge. Share knowledge. You can be a professor. You can be a teacher. You can go to different countries and teach people, explain, motivate people, share your ideas about other culture. Like, even at my work, at my work, a lot of people always like to ask about my culture, and trust me, I love to explain about my culture. I always try to, and sometimes people don't even know about my country, Sierra Leone. So I will always tell them things that they can look out for, things that we do, our food, our culture, how we dress, our religion, and all of those stuff. And it's so inspiring, and see their reaction. I'm like, oh, you guys do that, you guys do. It's a really good thing. So always share knowledge. It's very important.
How do you measure the success of your social initiatives?
It's about inspiring people. That's how I measure my success.
Mhm.
Every single day, if I see that I inspired someone, if I see that I changed someone's life, it really makes me feel better. It really makes me feel like I'm achieving my goals. So yeah, that's how I measure my success, by inspiring people in whatever way. It can be helping you save some money. It can be helping you managing your money. It can be helping you having an understanding with you and your partner when it comes to finance. It can be anything that can inspire them. Yeah.
Final question. What legacy do your work in finance, leadership, and social impact?
Well, for my work, I want to be a partner. I want to be successful in my career. I want to be a CPA partner. And for leadership, I want to make sure they see me as a role model in whatever thing I'm doing. They feel like, I want to be this leader because of one, two reasons. And social, I want to make sure I share my knowledge, try to inspire people, try to make sure people achieve their goals, try to change people's life. If people don't believe, I love to share my own story and give them that belief so that they can keep pushing, you know. So those are the three things I can say.
Mm. So, in closing, what are some of the words of wisdom and encouragement that you'd like to leave for our audience, as well as how they can connect with you on social media? If you have any websites you'd like for them to follow you on, what are some of those things you'd like to tell our audience?
Well, first of all, I would like to, tell everyone to believe in themselves. Whatever dream you want to achieve, you got to believe in yourself. Believe is very magical. You might be, you want to become a lawyer, you want to become a doctor, you want to become an artist, you want to become anything. If you don't believe in yourself, how you expect other people to believe? Tell me. So believing in yourself is very important, and always know that it's not gonna be easy. If you talk to Beyonce, you talk to anyone, all the successful people out there, they're gonna tell you that it's not easy. They learn from their mistake. They made wrong decision, they make right decision, they learn from it, and they move on. And sometimes there's always ups and downs in life. Today you might have a good job, tomorrow you might lose your job. And sometimes people will make you feel like you are not intelligent. People will make you feel like you are not that capable of doing those stuff. But you don't have to let those words um get into your head. You have to make sure that this situation that is happening right now is something that I can learn for, because I might need it when I'm going to be successful. But one thing you need to do is that you have to keep pushing, because when you keep pushing, you're going to achieve your goals. And for you to keep pushing, you got to believe. So that's one of the key things I want to say about belief. And the last thing is, you can check me out on Indeed, as Alfred Blah, or you can check me out on Facebook as Alfred Umaru Blah, and yeah, on Instagram it's official. So yeah, so those are the key social media platform that I'm on right now.
Okay. Well, I want to take the time to thank you for being here, and I really do appreciate you coming to share your knowledge, of the accounting, auditing, financial world, because in these days and times right now, it's very, very important that people start to learn to be disciplined and just also learn values, as in the value of the dollar and how that money works and what they can do to make their lives that much easier and that much better. um it's for the folk that are watching on all of our channels, because we broadcast live on 8 channels. For those of you that have just listened to Alfred, he's given us a very key message that means more to everything, that not just what this platform stands for, but what we should be standing for as in our communities and our human values. That is to be about community and to take the knowledge that you have and invest it back into the community to help the community to build, to expand, to grow, and to unify. If we do all of those things, we are not only helping others, we're building others. We're building communities. And what we should be learning at that same time is, as we're building and learning one thing. That is to invest in where we live. Because as you invest in where you live, and as long as you want to make that better, everything else is gravy. That means that it's all about you and the people that are around you. Please take that time and just remember, community is everything. Now, for all of you that are watching on all the channels, including the YouTube channels, if you have not yet subscribed and got all the notifications to all of our YouTube channels or subscribe to any of our other channels that you're watching on, I am asking if you would please subscribe, get all the notifications, and make sure that as we broadcast each and every last one of these shows live, you're able to catch that show when it goes live, and you're also able to go back to the channel and watch all of the previous recorded shows and get all of the knowledge and messages that are there for your learning experience and for you to only get better. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. This was a great Monday. We will be back tomorrow night with another great show for you here on America in Black and White, where we will continue to color conversations on America's canvas. I want to thank you again, Alfred. I appreciate you for being here, and hopefully we can get you back on the show. And I want you all to be able to come back and just watch us again tomorrow night. And I will message you, Alfred, after this show.
Okay.
You all come back and watch us again tomorrow night as we have another great show. And I thank you all again. You all have a great evening, and